No dream is made a reality without a struggle and the shedding of tears. My name is Harry Mark Petrakis. I was born in the United States of Cretan parents. When a dream becomes a reality, it is because someone had a vision and he or she fashioned that vision to share it with others. It not only takes a vision to make something a reality. It takes faith, teamwork, and daring determination. The strength to continue comes from believing that anything is possible. And the reward for the fulfillment of this dream can be as simple as a child's smile. That is satisfaction enough to share the vision with others so that the seeds of good works continue to grow. The Hellenic influence can be felt all over the world, in places where people would least expect it. It is a little-known fact to many of us today that Hellenes have lived for centuries and continue to live in the lands of the Black Sea. Hellenes who, after experiencing tremendous prosperity, faced persecution and massacre and historical changes. Now they find themselves starving and suffering from a lack of medical care.
They make me feel very humble. Humble because of the strength that they have. With all the suffering that they have endured, they're still very strong people, proud of their heritage.
Печальная, но и героическая. Прадеды наши были гражданами понтийского государства, были понтийцы.
From the Caucasus Mountains to the shores of the Black Sea, Hellenes first immigrated to this region as early as the 8th century BC, long before the time of Alexander the Great and his far-reaching conquests. They settled in the fertile lands of what is now known as the historical realm of Pontus, being referred to as Pontian Greeks. Here they built Hellenic centers of culture, education, and commerce. By the 1400s, the Ottoman Turks would invade Pontus. Their wave of persecution and domination would try to obliterate the Hellenic presence, and it forced many Hellenes to flee. Those who survived settled in the Caucasus mountain villages in Tsalka, Georgia, the Crimea, and the southeast city of Mariupol in what is now Ukraine. By 1914, the Hellenic population would grow to more than 650,000 in Russia. The tortuous history would continue for the Hellenes of the Black Sea. This time it would be Joseph Stalin who forbade everything Hellenic, language, culture, tradition, and religion, exiling them to Siberia, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. It was a time of great suffering that few people ever knew existed in Hellenic history. Everything Hellenic takes root in each Hellene's heart. Not until the fall of the Soviet Union would Hellenes again freely express their heritage and regain their human rights. Andrew Athens, president of the World Council of Hellenes, SAE, would be the person whose vision to help the forgotten Hellenes would spawn a dream of restoring medical care and make it the reality known today as the Primary Health Care Initiative.
Το reward για μένα είναι όταν είσαι με αυτούς τους ανθρώπους και κοιτάς τα μάτια τους και βλέπεις ελπίδα. Αυτό είναι το reward.
In January 1997, Andrew Athens made a fact-finding mission to this historic Hellenic area where the first stop was Tsalka, Georgia, with its 28 ancient Hellenic villages. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, Andrew Athens would never have imagined such deplorable living conditions where there was little or no food, water, electricity, and basic health care, not even basic medicines to treat the most common of illnesses.
We cry together and we laugh together. And they are sturdy, hardy people. I'm sorry, every time I think about them, I have tears in my eyes.
It was during this trip that Andrew Athens was approached by a group of Hellenic physicians in Tbilisi. After the fall of communism, they were working as dishwashers, cab drivers, and janitors. They had a dream of their own to help their fellow Hellenes and neighbors. There at the Tree of Hope, Andrew Athens made his solemn promise to help the forgotten Hellenes rebuild their shattered lives.
If you fear something, you won't do it, or you won't do it well. You must do something that you're committed to, that you believe in, and never mind, somehow the good Lord will take care of you.
Moved by the Hellenic physicians' dedication, compassion, determination, and ingenuity, Andrew Athens began his personal journey to help the forgotten Hellenes. He first enlisted the aid of his good friend, Dr. Charles Kanakis, Jr., a leading cardiologist in Chicago and founder of the Cyprus Relief Fund. Together, they embarked on the life-saving mission of developing a model of community-based outpatient healthcare services. This model healthcare program would restore access to medical care and medicines that were lost after the breakup of the Soviet Union.
We just come out of a regional hospital, and we visited a number of regional hospitals here in Ukraine, and it's a common theme. The hospitals are old, the infrastructure is totally lacking. The particular hospital we just visited does not have running water, and electricity is provided only by generators and for a limited period of time during the day. The other theme is the lack of medications, despite the fact that the Ukrainian law provides for free medications for the people, and the lack of diagnostic capabilities, the lack of x-ray, the lack of proper laboratory testing. Most of the equipment that we saw for diagnostic purposes is antiquated, and even those antiquated pieces of equipment are not working. The physicians are really working with their hands tied behind their backs, and the patients are even in a worse situation since they can't get proper diagnoses, and even when diagnosed, they can't get free therapy, free medicines, and they can't afford to purchase the medicines in the open market. This is truly a tragic situation, and the people are desperate for some assistance and some help.
They returned to Georgia 6 months later in 1997 to establish the first SAE Hellenic Medical Center in Tbilisi. Before the end of the year, 2 more medical centers would be in operation in Georgia, in the ancient Hellenic region of Tsalka and the remote mountain village of Chikisvari. 2 more clinics would follow in Armenia and Ukraine in 2001. Nurses' stations and medical mobile units attached to each SAE medical center would restore health services in rural, remote villages.
Presently in the Department of Gynecology of a regional hospital, and the water source of this hospital ceased to work many years ago. And presently you see the system at which the doctor can wash his hands. Water is poured into this container, and then he merely presses here and the water will run. The water obviously is not warm, and it has to be hand carried in buckets. That's the only source of water here in the hospital.
No longer a dream, but a professional and recognized source of quality medical care, the SAE Primary Health Care Initiative has helped more than 500,000 people. $60 million worth of medicines, supplies, and other humanitarian aid has been distributed since 1999. In Mariupol, Ukraine, a new diagnostic center was established in 2003, providing mammogram screenings in a city where 30% of all cancerous tumors diagnosed breast cancer, usually in the final stages. In Yorgutsatis, Albania, in cooperation with His Eminence Archbishop Anastasios, SAE has opened its 6th medical center in November 2003 to help the forgotten Hellenes and their neighbors of Vorios Epiros.
Get our friends, the Jewish Americans and the Jews all over the world. I've learned from them, even in my industry, in the steel industry. There is not one Jew anywhere in the world who has a great need that's not taken care of. And I believe the same thing should apply for the Hellenes. To me, it's very important.
With support from the United States government, the Hellenic Republic, and worldwide Hellenes, this modest attempt to relieve suffering has grown into a well-respected medical and humanitarian assistance program. Thanks to the SAE Primary Healthcare Initiative, the forgotten Hellenes are facing an optimistic future and experiencing a new emotion, hope. They now know they are no longer forgotten Hellenes. Currently, this program is operating in 4 countries, Albania, Georgia, Armenia, and Ukraine, with 6 medical centers, 44 nursing stations, and 6 mobile units. This program has restored the jobs of some 200 Hellenic healthcare professionals. Every month, thousands of Hellenes and non-Hellenes alike receive quality healthcare without discrimination. It is a program that not only provides basic medical care, but is also concerned with such health epidemics as HIV/AIDS, breast cancer, and cardiovascular disease. Every day brings a new request for help from someone suffering from a serious illness.
One old man, Yaros, who said to me, he started to speak quickly, and they translated. And he said, "Excuse me for speaking Turkish, but that's the only language that I learned. Because when I was born in Pontus, they cut the tongue of my mother in order to, this was what was doing in certain military districts, in order she wouldn't be able to teach them Greek. She wouldn't be able to speak."
It is an awe-inspiring feeling to discover that in this day and age, with all the troubles in the world, that this simple dream is restoring health and hope to so many people in dire need. It is doing so through the generosity of those who have not forgotten that if one Hellene is suffering, all Hellenes suffer. We may be too far away to hear their cries or feel their pain, yet we know of it now and we can help them. They too are waiting for their chance in life.
To go there and to witness this, I think it brings you closer to God. It brings you closer to what God wanted us to do. If you read the Bible and you listen to the Bible, you listen to the priests every Sunday, what do they say? The meek shall inherit the earth.
Will we respond to their call for help? Your donation has a far greater impact than just its monetary value. You can transform a life and bring help to those who need it most. Help the forgotten Hellenes. The need is great. Together we can make a difference. Support the SAE Primary Healthcare Initiative.